XRP. Banks and governments are quietly hoarding it, while Bitcoin maximalists are screaming that it's a centralized scam. Will XRP rule global finance or crash as blockchain's most overhyped fraud? Did the SEC just hand it a golden ticket by ditching its lawsuit after all these years? Well, buckle up because the truth might shock you or just piss you off. In this video, I'm diving into the deepest, darkest corners of XRP's story. With one of its greatest hurdles finally cleared, the SEC lawsuit, we can now turn our focus to the heart of the project itself. I'll strip away the layers, sharing my unfiltered thoughts on where XRP is headed next. Let's not waste any time. Give that like button a tap and let's dive into this together. There's been some absolutely massive news for XRP just this month. Just a few days ago, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse shared that the SEC is dropping its 4-year lawsuit against Ripple, which started in 2020 over claims they sold $1.3 billion in XRP without permission. And earlier this month, President Donald Trump signed an order making XRP part of a US crypto reserve. And this month overall, whales have been heavily accumulating XRP, snapping up huge amounts, including over 200 million tokens worth 460 million between March 10 and 17, on top of another $700 million earlier this month. Yes, all of this sounds bullish, but hold your horses. We need to understand what XRP actually is at its core, what makes this project tick, and what are the risks that could make this one blow up in our faces. It's time to go deep into the shadows, reveal the truth, and be able to actually predict where the price of XRP is headed for real. Whether you're new to XRP or already familiar with it, let's start with a straightforward look at the tech. XRP is a crypto developed by Ripple Labs designed to speed up and reduce the cost of cross-border payments. It operates on the XRP ledger, a decentralized blockchain that processes transactions in 3 to 5 seconds with extremely low fees. Its main purpose is to act as a bridge currency, helping banks and financial institutions transfer money globally more efficiently than traditional systems like SWIFT. The vision of XRP as a leading solution for global money transfers is what has brought it to where it is today, the third biggest crypto by market cap, just behind Bitcoin and Ethereum. But there's a dark underbelly to XRP, the things they don't want you to know about, the things that the XRP army sweeps under the rug. And I'm not trying to spread any FUD here, but yes, I'm going there. It's the only way to understand XRP from a 360-degree view. Here's the bear case. Even with the SEC lawsuit behind it, XRP faces serious issues that could slow it down. First up, there's this whole centralization thing. Ripple Labs, who made XRP, still own about 5% of all 100 billion tokens and control this huge escrow pile. Out there on social media, they're calling XRP a banker's coin, saying it's too tied to one company, which defeats the purpose of decentralization, blockchain, and crypto. Why? Well, the real issue is that one party holds so much of the supply and could dump it whenever they want, flooding the market. It shakes investors' confidence by making holders scared of a sudden sell-off that could disrupt everything. And speaking of selling, before I talk about some of the other major risks when it comes to XRP, here's an important message for you. Solana users, this one's for you. After a year of incredible growth and volatility, taxes are probably the last thing you want to deal with. But here's a game changer. Awaken is offering free tax services for all your Solana transactions this year, plus other chains like Bitcoin, Base, Sui, and Hyperliquid. They're partnering with Phantom to make this happen, and since they already handle taxes for hundreds of thousands of wallets and exchanges, you can trust them to get it right. Plus, they're sponsoring this video to make sure you don't miss out on this opportunity. Awaken makes crypto taxes super easy and delivers unmatched accuracy way beyond other platforms, especially for complex stuff like DeFi, NFTs, and meme trading. And if you lost money trading, Awaken can help you write off those losses against your gains and even up to $3,000 of other income each year. That's a game changer for your tax refund or savings. They integrate with top exchanges like Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, and Gemini, and support major blockchains including Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Hyperliquid, Sui, and L2s like Base, Blast, Arbitrum, and Optimism. And here's the best part. Awaken automatically labels over 90% of your transactions. Think NFTs, bridging, LPing, and tricky DeFi moves. For anything that's left, their AI assistant steps into it to make it seamless. I tried it myself, and it's free to start. Check out the link down below to simplify your taxes and save money. Now, back to the bear case for XRP. So there's been some adoption hurdles. XRP is built to speed up cross-border payments, and Ripple has over 300 financial partnerships, which sounds great, but here's the catch. It's still not the go-to choice for most banks and payment systems out there. A lot of institutions are sticking with what they know, like Swift, or they're waiting to see how this whole crypto thing shakes out before jumping in. If XRP can't get more banks and companies to actually use it, its whole reason for existing takes a hit. The risk is that it stays a niche player, never breaking into the mainstream the way its fans expect. Then there's the competition XRP has to deal with. Stellar or XLM pretty much does the same job, but is less centralized. Swift, the main system banks already use for moving money, is getting a major update by November 2025 to work smoother. Plus, some countries are making their own digital money that might not need XRP at all. Why? Well, if these other choices start looking better, XRP might not stand out for payments anymore. The risk is that banks could pick those instead, leaving XRP in the dust. So the three main points against XRP here are a lack of decentralization, lack of adoption, and competition. Now, if you're part of the XRP army, then you're definitely raging at this point. But please take a deep breath, because the truth is, I myself am an XRP holder and supporter. While there's a bear case here, I'd say it's pretty weak because the bull case is much stronger. With the SEC dropping its lawsuit and the crypto landscape being more bullish than ever before, XRP is in for a wild ride. Let's break it down. So sure, Ripple Labs owns about 5% of XRP's 100 billion tokens and controls that escrow pile, which scares some people who see it as too much power in one place. But here's the thing. Most of the validators running the XRP ledger today aren't Ripple's anymore. They're independent players outside of their control. And the XRP supply that Ripple holds, well, they're releasing it slow and steady. 1 billion every month, set to be fully done by 2027, which is less than 2 years away. Once it's all been released, Ripple's big holdings disappear and XRP becomes fully decentralized. So it's time to shut down the bankers coin trash talk. XRP is on track to stand toe-to-toe with the decentralized greats like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, let's talk about adoption. XRP isn't being used by every bank yet, and most still use Swift. But it's not just about payments anymore. Ripple's cooked up stuff like their own USD stablecoin, RLUSD, pegged to the dollar on the XRP ledger. It launched 3 months ago and is already in the top 250 cryptos overall. We're gonna see this one continue to climb and climb and climb. Aside from that, Ripple has over 300 financial partnerships locked in, including big names like Santander, and their on-demand liquidity service is picking up in places like the Middle East and Asia Pacific. They're not just waiting for banks to catch up, they're pushing into micropayments for things like online tips and even helping countries build digital currency. So XRP actually isn't just a one-trick pony. The project is diversified into an ecosystem that's flexing real-world muscle, and is doing so as the third biggest crypto by market cap right now. Then there's the competition noise, with Stellar, Swift, and central bank digital currencies or CBDCs trying to steal XRP's thunder. Let's pick these apart. Well, Stellar, it's a wannabe XRP with less juice. Yes, XLM is more decentralized at the moment, but it has nowhere near the partnerships or the global reach Ripple's built. XRP is number 3, while XLM is number 16 by market cap. 140 billion versus 8 billion. That's almost 18 times bigger. That puts the Stellar argument to rest. But what about Swift? Well, yes, they're upgrading with ISO 20022 by November of this year, but it's still a clunky, old, outdated system that's probably going to be catching up forever until it becomes fully obsolete. You can't beat the speed of blockchain. Swift takes days and charges ridiculous fees, while XRP does the job in 3 to 5 seconds for pennies. It's only a matter of time. And then there's CBDCs. Those government coins are a mess. Each country is doing its own thing, and they'll need a bridge like XRP to do transfers anyway. Ripple's already involved, working with places like Bhutan and Palau. XRP has the speed, cost, scale, and Ripple's hustle, so it's safe to say that XRP is in a very strong position. Now, people often ask me, Summer, where can I buy some coins like XRP? Well, Look, most of you probably already have an account with major exchanges, and that's fine. But let's face it, big platforms crash at the worst moments and some even get compromised. Coinbase, for example, is notorious for frequent outages. That's why savvy traders don't put all their eggs in one basket. Personally, I've got at least 10 accounts to keep my options flexible. My choice, Hotcoin. Hotcoin is a global exchange with no KYC, no VPN required, and it's accessible worldwide, including the USA and Canada. You get futures and spot trading, over 500 trading pairs, and some of the lowest fees out there. If you sign up with my link down below, you'll get a 200 USDT bonus for new users and campaigns with up to 100,000 USDT in rewards. Now, let's get back to my XRP thesis. With those bear points flipped, let's look at the facts I consider to build my thesis. The SEC lawsuit that was dropped was huge, and I think it's gonna really open the floodgates. Big exchanges like Coinbase and Kraken are back to listing XRP, and banks can finally continue working on their partnerships that were probably put on pause for the last few years. The global payments market is fat, a whopping $150 trillion. Even grabbing a small piece of that would be massive. And then there's all of the mentions and support for XRP. President Trump officially announced XRP as a part of the US crypto reserve, and Wills have been buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of XRP since. Ripple is also working with entire countries. That's a big green flag and gives them some major points when it comes to global adoption. The tech's getting better too. The XRP ledger is already quick, settling in seconds with barely any fees, but they're bringing in upgrades like smart contracts by mid-2025 and a boost to handle more of the load. There's also a $100 million fund that's being put into further development. Again, we're going way beyond just payments here. And XRP might get its own ETF by late 2025, with companies like Franklin Templeton and Bitwise pushing for it, plus a possible Ripple IPO by the end of the year. This opens XRP up to traditional finance through the stock market, which is a strong setup for liquidity and more price pumps. So what do I think of XRP overall? Well, I'm bullish because I've actually spent more time analyzing the risks instead of the up-only storyline. It's a project with a mix of promise but also obstacles. On one hand, the lawsuit's gone, the tech's solid, and big players are backing it, setting XRP up to become a leader in global payments. On the other hand, there's still competition, and we still have a year or so until nobody can deny that XRP is fully decentralized. I've put out the bull and bear side so you can see it all. No hype, no FUD, just the facts as I see them. Whether XRP skyrockets or stumbles, it's up to you to dig deeper and decide what you think. And that's all, folks. Remember, none of what I say is financial advice. You should never just blindly make investments based on somebody else's opinions. The one piece of advice that I will give you is to do your own research and understand these projects for yourself. That way, you know what you're getting into and you're aware of the risks. I'll leave all of the relevant links about everything we've talked about in this video in the description for you to check out. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to stay in the loop with me. And don't forget to check out the FireHustle VIP Discord if you're interested in learning about my portfolio strategies, especially when the market suddenly becomes super volatile. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.